At the end of September 1992, Doris and I had a very enjoyable time in Florence, and were interested to find a number of Leys there, and indications of more. The great dome of the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, usually just called the Duomo, although several other churches in Florence have domes, dominates the city and has come to be its symbol. It was built on the site of the second cathedral in Florence, dedicated to Saint Reparta. The first was the Basilica di San Lorenzo di Firenze, whose first building was first consecrated as a church in 393 by Saint Ambrose of Milan. These two churches seem to be the lay centres of Florence. By dowsing with a small instrument made from a ballpoint pen, which I can use without being noticed, I found at least 3 Leys cross under the dome, which has a polygonal walled area containing the high altar. The one I followed is one which also passes through Giotto's Campanile, or bell tower, a detached tower by the cathedral, completed in 1359 after Giotto's death. The line was about 10 paces wide and took in the whole of the Campanile, detectable all the way up to the top. A beautiful view of the city is had from here, which would have been even better if the weather had been kinder. We had torrential rain for most of the 4 days. In the southwesterly direction, this lay, after leaving the tower, goes through the Piazza Goldini, a square named after a dramatist whose statue is there, and which is a meeting point of several roads by the Ponte alla Carriera, a bridge over the River Arno. It then goes through the Church of San Frediano in Costello, a Baroque-style church built in 1680, another domed church with the interior of the dome holding a fresco of the glory of the Magdalene and Virtue. When one goes along the Ley, a little way towards the river, it can be seen to be in a very commanding position, and the dome of the cathedral is visible all along this stretch. It and the Piazza Goldini can be seen to be precisely in line. Dowsing picks up the lay strongly. In the other direction, from the cathedral, the theoretical lay appears just to miss 2 churches, but if 10 paces wide, it should just take them in, especially if the lays double in width at sunset, as all other lays seem to. Unfortunately, we did not have time to investigate these. The church is dedicated to Saint Fridianus, an early Christian Irish pilgrim who became Bishop of Lucca. A church here was present before the 11th century. The other lay found was originally found by dowsing at the cathedral, a line passing roughly south. This was found later in another rather spectacular case of intervisibility, looking along the Ponte Vecchio, the old bridge in Florence, and the only one to have been left intact by the retreating Germans at the end of the war. The dome of the cathedral can be seen precisely in line with the bridge. The bridge, which has a row of shops built along it, crosses the narrowest part of the river and was part of the Roman consular road, the Via Cassia. In 1565, the Medicis built a private corridor over the bridge, the Corridoio Vasariano, from the Uffizi to the Palazzo Pitti. It is powerful to douse and takes in the whole of the Ponte Vecchio in its width, before passing on to the Palazzo Pitti. The third lay comes through the Piazza Friar Girolamo Savonarola, containing the statue of this 15th century Dominican friar. It then goes through the Piazza Isidoro del Lungo, a square which has had a number of different names, but now remembers the historian and senator of the kingdom, Isidoro del Lungo, who lived here and died in 1927. Originally, the walls of Florence ran here. The next point is the Basilica della Santissima Annunziata, the Annunciation, the mother church of the Servite order, founded in 1250. The line then runs closely parallel to the Via G. Caponi and the Via dei Servi before arriving at the Cathedral. Finally it comes to the Piazza della Calza, a square located behind the Roman gate in the inner part of the walls of Florence. It's named after the order of Ingestuati, called by the people the Brothers of the Sock, who had a long grey cloak that looked like a sock. They had a church called San Giusto alla Calza. The Roman Gate. The two Leys passing through the San Lorenzo church do not meet at the church. One goes through the east end and the other through the west end. One comes from the Piazza della Libertà, the northernmost point of the historic centre of Florence, a large square created in the 19th century, which has also had several other names over the years. It then follows the mean of the Via San Gallo to the crossroads where it meets the Via Guelfa and also meets the other San Lorenzo Ley. Passing through the east end of San Lorenzo Church, it reaches a multi-junction where it goes through a corner of the Palazzo Strozzi, a palace built in 1489 for Filippo Strozzi, a rival of the Medici. From here it goes to the Church of Santa Trinita, the mother church of the Vallombrosan order of monks, founded in 1092 by a Florentine nobleman. It then passes through a crossroads and then the Church of Santo Spirito, an Augustinian church built in 1252. The other San Lorenzo Ley goes through a crossroads where it meets the Ponte Vecchio Ley and one where it meets the other San Lorenzo Ley, before going through the west end of San Lorenzo. It then goes to the Piazza Goldini, where it meets the Campanile Ley, finally arriving at the Church of Santa Maria del Carmine, a church of the Carmelite order built in 1268. It's interesting that there are several lay intersections at crossroads in Florence, and also roads coincident with lays. These factors, noticed in Britain by Alfred Watkins, show the Florence lays to be alignments exhibiting the same properties, and it's good to see them in a place so far from his home area.